So I know I said in my next video, as part of this series exploring the unseen world, that my next video would be about aerochrome. But due to an error with my F1, I ended up finishing my roll of Kodak's HIE first. Kodak HIE, otherwise known as Kodak High Speed Infrared. This film is legendary to those in the know, not so much the wider film community. Often overlooked due to aerochrome's more eye-catching aesthetic, Kodak HIE is an amazing infrared film stock in its own right. Developed by Kodak in the 1930s, this film stock is almost now 100 years old from its creation. And this roll that I have, that I've put through my Minolta, has been expired since 1991. I shot most of this roll when I was at Som's Island, with a few shots shot elsewhere. I have been perfecting my infrared photography for a while now. Infrared film, more than most, is highly weather dependent. So I've been saving this roll since I bought it 6 months back, till a time that I felt more comfortable to shoot it, but also before the cold weather kicked in with the coming winter. For all my preparation, it did not matter, as you are about to see. This roll was supposedly frozen, so it should have been okay to shoot. However, as you can see by these shots, it was not. You should have been able to see Wellington in these shots, but you can barely see anything. The definition is almost non-existent. Likewise, these two photos of the windmill also come out super undefined. Sometimes this is just going to be something that happens when I try to shoot an expired film. This shot I lined up should have been really cool, but instead all three of these photos are not coming out right. I shot at box speed for 1 second with an infrared filter, but this film has clearly lost definition and sensitivity. You can see with this shot of the bird that the whites are at the level of exposure right for the gradient, but the film has lost sensitivity and is very undefined. This death metal logo looking photo is one of the few that came out comparatively okay. As you can see by this fence one, that it is exposed, but all definition has all but gone. One of the main reasons I wanted to shoot HIE is that it has a blooming luminescent look that you can kind of see here. These photos of the rocks around the beach would have been cool, but unfortunately this did not work. I may come back and shoot this with the rollie, or maybe I might get another roll of HIE, but one that isn't so dated. This roll expired in 1991, that's now over 30 years ago. And even though it was frozen, it is an infrared film, which is known to expire faster than normal film. So I will try instead to buy some of the last years that existed on the shelf, i.e. some film from 2008. Man-made objects and nature look totally different in infrared, but it's hard to tell what is what with these shots. After what I thought had been a super successful trip, I took the ferry home, looking forward to see what my photos would look like, and hopefully have some cool portfolio shots to possibly put up on my website or a future store. So I still had some film in the camera, about 7 to 8 shots, and decided that I needed to pop over to Petone, to the camera store there, to buy some more Ultramax, as I had run out, but also to use up a few shots, and to shoot the Petone Wharf again, hoping I could get a shot as good as the one that I have hanging up in my lounge. As it was a cloudy day, I shot at 2 seconds to compensate for the lack of sun, which in my experience should have been enough, but not in this case, as the film was a no-go. 2 days later, I returned to my favourite spot to shoot photos in Wellington, the Botanic Gardens, where I wanted to recreate some of my shots from my Cinestill 400D Part 1 video, including the photo looking down at the pond and the one looking up above, but also shoot some places I had not previously that I knew would look good in infrared. This weirdly was the only part of the film that came out relatively okay, and also came out more defined. I'm unsure why this is. I didn't change speed for most of the film, and I used the same camera, setup, lens, filter, and everything else, but nevertheless the results were better. As my partner was away in another part of the country and had taken the lock on my tripod, I had to jerry-rig the setup to hold my camera in place, and it surprisingly worked. You can see from these photos that my ideas can look good, but my tool let me down. This is something that is just going to happen. Anyway, until next time, it's been real, guys.